What is up, everybody? It is I, Ronin, and today we're coming at you with something a little bit simpler. This is Ancient Gear is a deck I think I've done several videos on at this point. It is a deck that I do very much enjoy playing, and I figured with some of the new stuff, it might be worth trying to do a little bit of an update on it. And yeah, this is kind of what I came out with. It's a Ancient Gear beatdown slash OTK as per usual. And yeah, it's pretty neat. Let's go ahead and get into the deck profile. I'm not sure what I'll label this as at time of recording at least. But yeah, so learning how to play, relearning how to play. I'm not really sure yet. But yeah, let's get into the deck profile. So for stars, we have 2 Ancient Gear Reactor Dragon, 3 Ancient Gear Golem, 2 Ancient Gear Golem Ultimate Pound, 3 Gamecill the Sea Turtle Kaiju, 3 Ancient Gear Wyvern, and 3 Ancient Gear Hunting Hound. So, all of these are fairly good options. I'm a little uncertain. I'm thinking Reactor Dragon might be fine at 1, but we'll go over what it does first. So it's a level 9, 3,000 attack and defense. It's a machine. If it was tribute summoned by tributing an Ancient Gear monster, it does piercing. If it was tribute summoned by tributing a gadget monster, it can attack twice during each battle phase. We never summon it by tributing, so we don't need to worry about that. So the second effect, that's what matters. It has the Archimedes effect of making it so that your opponent cannot activate spell traps, well, when it attacks, basically. And at the end of the damage step, if it attacked, you can destroy a spell trap on the field. Again, I think it's probably would have been better to have that one and instead be running like another Ultimate Pound, maybe another Trade-in, maybe another Overload Fusion. But I don't know. I find it fine at 2. And yeah, its ability to attack and just do big damage, always appreciated. Then Ancient Gear Golem, the OG boy himself. Level 8, 3,000 attack and defense, cannot be special summoned, and if it attacks, it has the Ancient Gear effect, which I went over a little bit with Reactor Dragon, but the Ancient Gear effect is that when the monsters attack, your opponent can't activate spell or trap cards until the end of the damage that they attacked. From now on, assume they have that effect unless I state otherwise. Well, most of them have variations of this effect. We'll get into that. And yeah, it also does piercing damage. So yeah, it's really just a decent beat stick, honestly. There's not really much I can't beat over with 3,000 attack. On defense, it's pretty good too at not getting beat over. The piercing damage, appreciated at times. So yeah, Ancient Gear Golem, a really, really nice beat stick. His retrain, not quite as good. So there are several reasons it's not quite as good. It has the same stats and summoning conditions. It does do piercing, and up to twice per turn when it attacks when it attacks and destroys a monster by battle, lets you discard a machine to have it attack again in a row. And if it's on destroyed by battle or card effect while on the field, you can add a poly from your deck to your hand. If you do, add another Ancient Gear monster from your graveyard to your hand. So yeah, this is just Ancient Gear Golem, but worse. They traded the Archimedes effect, which is arguably pretty decent, and gave it multiple attacks. Well, I guess if we're talking modern game, that's slightly fine. Battle traps aren't as huge a thing, but its search recover effect is just too specific. Most people aren't going to be destroying it by battle, and you kind of want to keep hand presence with this deck. So yeah, it's mostly worth running because it's another target for a few of your fusion monsters, and it is another level 8 for trade-in. But yeah, run them at 2 or 3, whatever your preference is. 3 Gamecill because sometimes monster effects are scary. Sometimes they make us worried that our plays won't go through. And when those times happen, we can just drop a sea turtle on that monster. So yeah, that's why Gamecill is here. This is a beatdown deck. It's very good. And now we have Ancient Gear Wyvern, which actually has a pretty unique version of the Ancient Gear effect, which makes it so that when it attacks, your opponent cannot activate effects until the end of the damage step, not just spell and trap cards. So arguably just a very strong Armedia's effect, but also when it's normal or special, it lets you just add an Ancient Gear card from your deck to your hand except for itself. The price for that being that you cannot set cards for the rest of the turn. A little bit of a weird restriction. I think they only did that because Ancient Gear Drill is a thing. It just lets you set spells directly from your deck, pretty much. And yeah, run him at free because he's a good machine dragon. That'll let you search your stuff. Now we have Ancient Gear Hunting Hound. Very good card. When it's normal summoned, it inflicts 600 points of damage to your opponent. It has the the Ancient Gear effect, which is basically an Armedia's effect. And once per turn, it lets you fusion summon an Ancient Gear fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your field or hand as fusion material. So yeah, it's basically a poly on legs. As long as you open him and another Ancient Gear monster, you basically have a turn one play. And yeah, sometimes that 600 damage is a little nice to have. Just to sort of poke at your opponent a little before you attack him big. So run rent free. He's a good dog. Now we have our spell lineup, which we'll go over what the spells are first, and then we'll go over kind of the main play because this is where we can start talking about it. So we have 1 Overload Fusion, 2 Trade and free Ancient Gear Catapult, 2 Ancient Gear Fusion, 1 Terraforming, free Call by the Grave, free Tin Twister, free Ancient Gear Fortress, and free Gear Town. Now we go over the main play because I'm assuming you know what most of these do. So yeah, if you open up with Ancient Gear Catapult as well as Gear Town, it's basically an OTK. Let me explain. So first, you activate Gear Town. Then you activate Ancient Gear Catapult because you will control no monsters. And what it says is, while you control no monsters, you can destroy a face-up card on your field to special summon an Ancient Gear monster from your deck, ignoring summoning conditions. So yeah, you use it, pop Gear Town, summon Ancient Gear Golem from your deck. Then you have Gear Town's effect, because when it's destroyed, you can special summon an Ancient Gear monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard. You use that to special summon Ancient Gear Wyvern. Because Ancient Gear Wyvern with special summon, it lets you search an Ancient Gear card, which is going to be Ancient Gear Fusion. You then activate Ancient Gear Fusion to summon, well, kind of situational. You can go for Megaton Ancient Gear Golem or Chaos Ancient Gear Giant. It really depends. I usually choose to go for Megaton Ancient Gear Golem. So you fuse it, and because you're using an Ancient Gear Golem as the material, you're able to use that Gear Golem on the field, as well as monsters from your deck as the material. So you make Megaton Ancient Gear Golem using free Ancient Gear Golems or with some of your Ancient Gear Golem Ultimate Pounds. It doesn't matter as long as they're all the material that you use. Then you have Megaton Ancient Gear Golem. He requires free Ancient Gear monsters to attack. It has the Ancient Gear effect. And if it was fusion summoned using 2 or more Ancient Gear Golems and or Ancient Gear Golem Ultimate Pounds as material, it can attack up to the same amount of times as the number used for it. So if you use free Ancient Gear Golem or Ancient Gear Golem Ultimate Pound, you get free attacks from it. And if it leaves the owner's field because of a opponent's card effect, you can special summon an Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem from your extra deck, ignoring summoning conditions. So yes, you run Ultimate Ancient Gear Golems equal to the number of Megaton Ancient Gear Golems you run. And Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem lets you, well, fusion material is an Ancient Gear Golem and 2 Ancient Gear monsters. It must be fusion summoned unless ignoring the summoning conditions, like say with Megaton. If it attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing, it has the Ancient Gear effect. And if it is destroyed, you can target an Ancient Gear Golem in your graveyard, special summon it, ignoring its summoning conditions. So yeah, then you can go back into Ancient Gear Golem, and if you have, say, Ancient Gear Fusion again, as well as enough targets in deck, you can kind of go through that process all over again. So yeah, that's basically the main combo of the deck, and that's not even mentioning that you still have Wyvern on the field after all of that. But yeah, basically from those 2 cards, that is how that can be an OTK. And with that, we actually went over quite a few cards, so yeah, that'll make things a little easier here. But yeah, that's basically the main combo. Ancient Gear Catapult also has an additional effect that by destroying a face-up card you control and banishing this from your graveyard, you can special summon an Ancient Gear token to your field, and you can only use each of the effects once per turn. So yeah, no, that gives you another option to pop your Gear Town or your Gear Fortress, which we'll go over in a second here, from the graveyard as well for a little bit more recovery play. So yeah, it's pretty good. Now let's go over Fortress because it's sort of the last unique Ancient Gear spell in the deck. It's a continuous spell, and it states that during the turn they were normal and special summoned, your opponent cannot target Ancient Gear monsters you control with card effects, and they cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. So protects them from things like Solemn, Torrential Tribute, Negate Attack if your opponent is doing something like that, which they shouldn't be able to do much with, but oh well. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to the activation of Ancient Gear cards and effects. And if it's destroyed in the spell and trap card zone, you can special summon an Ancient Gear monster from your hand or grave. And you cannot special summon for the rest of the turn except Ancient Gear monsters if you do that. So, again, it's a very good recovery play, especially with Catapult's graveyard effect. And then the protection itself is super nice. So, yeah, run it free. It protects your plays, and if you can open it as well as Gear Town and the Catapult, like, you're pretty much good. Now the rest of the cards, pretty sure you all know. We have one Overload Fusion because Chaos Ancient Gear Giant is a Dark Attribute monster, and Overload Fusion can only fusion summon for Dark monsters. Trade in at 2 because we run a lot of level 8 monsters. I can probably be at free where I can cut the Reactor Dragon down to 1, but yeah, it's fine at 2 as well. Free called to stop hand traps because hand traps harm us. Terraforming basically gives us an extra copy of Gear Town. Twin Twister for spell trap removal during the main phase, which is always pretty nice. And then our only trap is Infinite Permanence, which lets you negate effects. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you know what Infinite Permanence does. It's in all the decks at this point, so I won't go over too heavily. Just if you don't control cards, it can be activated from your hands and from the hand and negates monster effects. Okay, so that's the main deck. Kind of went over the combo, and we'll just go over the rest of the extra deck real fast, just so you guys know what it does. So first off, Chaos Ancient Gear Giant. Boy howdy is this guy big and he beats Sky Strikers. Yeah, but let me go over why he beats Sky Strikers. So first, his fusion requires 4 Ancient Gear monsters, and it must be fusion summoned and cannot be special summoned by other ways. It is unaffected by spell trap effects. Your opponent's monsters cannot activate their effects during the battle phase. And it can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each with piercing damage. So as you can tell, this thing, it really is the kind of, is everything that Ancient Gear is supposed to be, is the best way to describe it. It protects itself during the battle, it makes it so that you have to battle and take that damage. I don't think I'm pretty sure there's only 3 cards in the game that naturally cannot be beaten over by it. And it's just, yeah, it's nuts. And yeah, unfortunately, it is a little vulnerable to monster effects. But again, hopefully, if you're summoning it, you're probably going to win. Then we also have the turn 1 play, which is Ancient Gear Howitzer. It requires 2 Ancient Gear monsters. It's unaffected by other cards' effects. During the main phase, it lets you inflict 1,000 to your opponent. You can only use the effective Howitzer once per turn, and if it's destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon an Ancient Gear monster from your deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. So, like I said, this is basically the turn 1 play. You summon it to the field of defense, have it burn for 1,000, and then it's going to be destroyed by battle because it cannot be destroyed in other ways, and then you're just going to summon something from your deck. probably a Wyvern because that'll give you a search, but hey, I guess you can summon an Ancient Gear Golem too if you just want a big number. And yeah, beyond that, we have pretty standard stuff. We have the Nightmare package, Boral Sword for even more OTKs, and Boral Load for those situations where stealing a monster is nice. And that's pretty much the main deck. Now for the side deck, we have Free Nibiru for some combo deck hating. We can use that pretty well. An extra Reactor Dragon and Ultimate Pound, just in case. One Dark Hole, because, field wiping in this deck is actually kind of relevant. Free Dark Ruler no more for blocking off, having a higher chance to block those annoying guard dragon combos and such. Free anti-spell for the pendulum matchup, and free red reboot in case of a lot of traps. But yeah, that's the deck. If you're new here, we just watch a few replays. I got like 6 I need to choose free to go over. They're all decently good though, I think. And yeah, we go over what the deck does do well, what it doesn't do well, cool plays, so on and so forth like that. And yeah, that all being said, I'll see you guys there. Okay, welcome to the first replay with, well, I don't quite agree. I like that nickname at all, so I don't think I want to say it for the sake of YouTube and because I don't, yeah, that's really no good. And we are GX best because, who doesn't love themselves a Professy Crowler? But yeah, so we're playing against Adagnister here, and he is going to go first. So first he summons the Pickery. Pickery is giving him the AI Adult Reborn. He's going to summon Linkaribo, set the Heavy Storm Duster, as well as the AI Reborn. I think he probably should have gone for Aichichi here. Aichichi, search one of the special summon ones, special summon. What Link 2 could he have made? Because I feel like there's something he could have made here. Uh, I don't know. People in the comments, let me know what he could have made, because I feel like he should have been able to do a lot more with this hand, and he just didn't. But yeah. So anyways, that's his turn. Now we are up, and we top deck the trade-in. So we activate trade-in, go ahead and drop the Gamma Seal, because why would we tribute over the Linkaribo here? Then we get the Terraforming, and we have the Gear Town, and now you all are going to see the OTK I mentioned earlier in action. So we pop the Gear Town, lets us summon the Gear Golem, lets us summon Wyvern from the deck, or Reactor. Yeah, we summoned Reactor here. I lied to you, I'm sorry. This is still an OTK, but I lied to you. It's been like a few days since I watched these replays. But yeah. So we summon the Reactor Dragon, we still have the Hunting Hound. So we use Hunting Hound's effect to deal some damage. Then we are going to use the Ancient Gear Fusion, sending free Gear Golem, 2 Gear Golems and Ultimate Pound to make a triple attacking Megaton. And then we're just going to battle. So first we attack over with the Reactor Dragon to pop some back row. We pop the Heavy Storm Duster, which is fine. We attack directly with the Hunting Hound. And then we have 2 more attacks with the Gear Golem. So yeah, pretty simple plays there, but that's just sort of the OTK. It's fairly consistent, I would say, and it works out pretty well. I really do think this Adagnister player could have done something more with his hand, but I guess he didn't, and that's sort of the way he has chosen to live. But yeah, so that's the first replay. Second replay is going to kind of show the deck going against something a little bit more intimidating. But yeah, I'll see you guys there. Alright, welcome to the second replay with Hanky Hanky. As you can see, we're playing against a Danger Cyber Dragon Orcus Fang, but he will get the Orcus combo off, and we play through it a little bit. But yeah, you guys are going to see that in a second here. So yeah, our opponent is going first, summons the Cyber Dragon Core to search the emergency cyber, using the Foolish to send the Nightmare. Emergency Cyber is adding the hers, and then Tsuchinoko is going to get discarded and summon itself, and then he is going into the Nightmare combo, plus some neat little Cyber Dragon plays as well. So I believe you guys all know the Nightmare combo by now, so I'm not gonna super bother with explaining it. Yeah, it makes the ding dong. And yeah, so Orcus combo has the climax set as well as a cybernetic overflow. We have sort of the OTK, but again, we're gonna have to play through a few things in order to get there. But yeah, we get the Wyvern, which is pretty good. So we go ahead and activate the Fortress, hoping to bait out the climax. Then we use the Gear Town, which he will go ahead and negate. Oh shoot, I called it Climax. It's Crescendo. I like Orchestrate Climax better though. So yeah, Gear Town gets negated and destroyed. We still do have the Ancient Gear Catapult though, so we are able to pop the Ancient Gear Fortress in order to summon a Ancient Gear Golem from deck. And then Fortress's effect will let us summon something else. However, it's going to be negated by the Cybernet. Well, not negated, but we're losing our Golem. So Golem dies, and we use the effect to special summon Wyvern from our hand. Wyvern's going to go ahead and search us an Ultimate Pound. Then we'll use Fusion to summon the Megaton Ancient Gear Golem. I probably should have summoned another Golem from hand if I'm being real, but that's my bad. So yeah, we go ahead and just go for some damage over the Galatia. More than likely should have just attacked. Well, did he have a symbol skeleton? He did not. Okay, so that was our bad. Well, actually, he had the world. Nope. Yeah, we should have attacked over the Ding Dong Ding Garasu. That's. Well, actually, wait. Yeah, no, he would have been able to get this simple skeleton back. Okay, yeah, so that was correct to just go for damage there, I think. Yeah, unfortunately, the Glacier cannot be destroyed by battle. So yeah, then he's just going to summon the Cyber Dragon Core, get another emergency Cyber, make a Boral Sword, go back into a Ding Garasu. He's going to attach, power up a little, and then just sort of attack for game. Because that's what Boral Sword does. But yeah, that was the game there, and it was, in fact, a loss. But we did manage to play through our opponent's disruptions as well as getting to one of our big bad monsters, and I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was decent. But yeah. Next day is going to be the final replay, and it's going to show sort of the major weakness of the deck beyond just like general disruption and the meta, I suppose. I'll see you guys there. Okay, we'll do the final replay with Joe, who is playing some Black Wings, and this time is unique because we're going first, which is never a place you want to be with Ancient Gears. So we summon Hunting Hound, do 600 burn. We're going to try to use the effect to fusion summon, but he's going to drop that impermanence on us, so we cannot. And that's the end of our turn outside of just setting 2 and passing. However, it is the opponent's move, and they're going to go ahead and get some good stuff. So he's going to have the Poison Winds, which is pretty good starter card for Blackwing, and the Black Whirlwind. The Black Whirlwind is going to attempt to activate to get him something to extend a little more with. We're going to go ahead and Twin Twisters, dropping our own Twin Twisters. Pop that so he won't get the search. And then he's going to use Pot of Desires, draw 2. So we got some more stuff that he can use. He's able to special summon Gladius because of it. There's a Blackwing on the field. Special summons Bora, makes the Wise Strix. We go ahead and negate the Wise Strix so he does not get that Zephyros the Elite going. Yeah, and then our opponent's just going to summon the Harmattan. Not sure why he did, but he did summon Harmattan the Dust. It's going to level up some. And he's just going for damage here, I suppose. So we take a little damage. Take a little bit of damage, then we draw, and it's an Ancient Gear Golem, which is pretty good. So we summon Wyvern. Wyvern gives us the Ancient Gear Fusion, which we will now activate to make Howitzer. Howitzer will burn for 1,000. And now is our opponent's turn once more. He gets Steam the Cloak. Makes, I believe that's Raikiri. That makes Raikiri. Steam the Cloak gives tokens. Makes the Apprentice, Witch Apprentice, goes ahead and gets the Boral Sword. Boral Sword is going to negate our Howitzer. He's going to attack some more, and then we are top decking. Now, this is the other place that Ancient Gears don't want to be, which is in a top deck war, because outside of like Overload Fusion, there's not much that Ancient Gears can top deck that will help them, especially staring down a Borreload Savage Dragon. But we get the Reactor Dragon and cannot do anything with it, and Joe here is just going to attack for game. So yeah, that's the deck. Against slower things, it's amazing. It really just sets up super easy, explosive OTKs, and I know I do not have the best build. This is just sort of what I'm working with right now. But yeah, it can somewhat play through things. The big issue though is going first or trying to top deck into something good, or yeah, the deck just has a lot of problems that it just can't solve on its own, and that I think is its primary issue. But yeah, that's all the replays I'm gonna show for now. Let me know what you think of the deck, ways I can improve it, ways that it could be better, that OTKing, I guess. And yeah, that all being said, like if you liked, comment if you guys want to say, and subscribe if you want some more. This has been Ronin, signing off.